All right, everybody, welcome to a TV Remix exclusive. John, thank you for joining me on what I like to call a Stern talking to.
Yeah, explain how you come up with this idea and what, because I remember we were getting stoned at your house and you asked me if you could do this, and you had the most sincere reason, which is why I was like, sure.
Well, look, as you know, I grew up listening to the show. I still listen. I don't listen the way I used to. I don't subscribe, but I grew up some of the most pivotal moments of my life, whether that was finding out about breaking news or the passing of a celebrity, was all done through the Stern Show. My alarm clock in high school, middle school, was set to the Stern Show. So it would go on at like 5:58. So I would, especially after the movie came out, I would get the Rob Zombie song. And that's how I woke up every morning. And then even in my 20s, when Howard went to Sirius, he had Howard TV. Man, there were days when I was, in between production gigs, I would just sit on the couch, smoke weed all day and watch Howard TV. So I know the show. I love the show. And thanks to you, I've now got the entire golden era of the show in my phone between you and Jackie and Billy and Grillo. It's like, I joke with you. I say my phone hosts a better version of the show than Howard does these days.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's really cool. We hang out all the time, and I never get to ask anything about the show because it just doesn't come up.
Well, we're more like I said, we're friends, brothers. So I don't I never really looked at you as a fan, but this is why I thought this would be a good idea because, as a fan, and God knows there are millions of fans, at least from the past show, from the old Howard Stern show. So we thought this would be interesting that you could be the uber fan that you are of the show, and then you could ask and interview a lot of the Stern people, right?
Yeah, and I'm going to start with you because Howard announced today his retirement.
He did?
He did, which of course sounds like a negotiating ploy, but he said he's done to Robin. He said, I'm done. He said, I'm fine on the weekends. I come into work and I'm miserable. And I only read it. I didn't actually listen to it yet. But it could be one of those things where he's negotiating. But he said, I'm done. He said, after this, I'm done.
Or a way to promote his book.
That too. And I want to get to this because we're going to get Chaunce on here for kind of part 2 of the Chaunce interview. But what do you think? Do you think that Howard's been a grandfather for the last 2 years? He's doing Baby Shark on the air now.
Baby Shark? What's that?
You know the Baby Shark song?
No.
I don't want it. Don't make me sing it on.
Yeah, just
Baby Shark.
No.
So Howard sings it now. It's like a kid's song.
Why?
Well, maybe because he's a pop-up.
A pop-up?
That's,
Oh, is that one of the things
like an East Coast term, grandpa, papa?
Oh.
Yeah. But so he said that today, so we'll talk to Chaunce about that. But before we do, and I may be part of this, combined, you're now blocked by the Stern Show on Twitter?
Well, that's what I thought when I got done my workout today, and then it said you are blocked by Stern Show. Now, I don't know if I'm blocked or not, because then when I went to Stern Show, it said that I'm following them or they're following me. So I don't know if I'm blocked. So maybe they blocked me and unblocked me because they knew that it would immediately be, oh, shit, John's going to talk about it. Because I know as a fact, Royce, that there are people from the Stern Show listening to the Stuttering John podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just like Radio Gunk told us, I know that they listen to her too. And look, if he's retiring, it's time for him to go.
I agree. And there are some emails that have come in on the TV Remix subscriptions that are very suspect.
What? Saying what?
Well, we can talk about it off the air, but a couple people that look like they may be on the show that just signed up to watch.
No. You tell me.
Well, I think Scott the engineer signed up.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm pretty sure. I'm not going to put his email out over. I'll show it to you later. But yeah, I'm fairly certain it was Scott the engineer.
Listen, I love Scott the engineer. I mean, granted, I was very angry with him when he, gave Howard my audition tapes because he only, used the bad ones, the Nicolas Cage and Pamela Anderson. But, and he promised me that he wouldn't. But then, as I say in my book, Easy for You to Say, which is available on Amazon.com, I say that
How dare you plug a book on my show?
Yes, but I forgave him because all the pranks I pulled on Scott throughout the years, I have to be able to take it, and I'm big enough to know that. So, and I really, really feel bad for Scott with his wife passing away, Robin, who I knew, and also the way Howard has really treated him so poorly. I don't know why Howard goes to therapy 4 times a week, the therapist should be fired, because if it's not gonna wake him up to how to be a nice human being, and give to Scott the engineer, before you send fucking Kathy Lee a fucking $1,000 bouquet of roses. That's how I feel. He panders more to the celebrity crowd than he does to people who have served him loyally for over 30 years. He should be ashamed of himself. I would say this to his face, though, Royce. So, yeah, I'm the only guy probably on the Stern Show that would say all of this to his face.
Well, and it never surprised me that you would be the one to write the book first.
Yeah, no, of course. And, it's so weird. And Royce, let me just say this, because on Twitter, and this is about the Stern Show. Chaunce, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, so just let me just say this before it's your show, Royce, but
that's fine.
But I do want to say, like, someone said, "Why are you living in the past? It's so sad." And I said, like, David Cohn, like one of my favorite Yankees, David Cohn. He follows me, I follow him. He's the one who pitched a perfect game. I know you don't know much about baseball, but he pitched it for the Yankees, I believe in '98 or '99. But I will say that David Cohn is coming out with a book. It's coming out like this month or next month, and it's all about his time in the majors. So is he not allowed to talk about his illustrious past either? I mean, people say don't talk about the Stern Show. Why are you living in the past? Well, what the fuck else?
First of all, Howard's living in the past.
Yeah, and just so you know, yesterday is the past.
Well, that's just it.
When my kids were born, that's the past.
But John,
so I can't talk about the past.
They air more old episodes than they do new episodes.
I know.
So they're living in their own version of the past.
So Howard's living in the past. So just since this is your show, this is
that's fine. And Chauncey, this is just the spin-off thing we're doing.
Yeah, but wait, I'm just a little agitated here, because about the whole Stern Show thing. It's okay. So you're living in the past. Well, I don't understand it. So I'm living in the past. I'm not allowed to talk about my time with Stern and Leno?
Right.
Why? I'm not allowed to talk about my Donald Trump phone call?
No, they only say it to you.
Neil Armstrong not being allowed to talk about being on the moon.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Thank you, Chauncey.
Like that chapter shouldn't be revisited because,
Well, and just let me say this, Royce, and then continue with your interview here. It's like I was trying to write a book when I was on Howard, and Howard put the kibosh on it. So all these years I've been wanting to write this book. So if I finally have the opportunity to do so, why wouldn't I?
Well, and from a fan's perspective, people want to hear it. They like to bitch and say, you're holding on, but they're the first ones reading it every single friggin' time.
Why wouldn't I, tear the mask off of the fucking, Iron Curtain, if you will? I mean, why not expose Don Buchwald for being the douchebag and him and Howard being the Sith? Why not point it out? Okay, Chauncey, just Royce, explain to Chauncey what's going on here.
Chauncey, I think we had so much more we wanted to cover. We decided that we're going to start an offshoot show for, obviously, our TV remix platform. So we're calling this a Stern Talking To, and every week we're going to bring in a classic member of the old show. So we're going to kick it off with you. And did you hear this morning that Howard? Well, obviously you're ahead of us. Howard
He's retiring.
What's that?
He's retiring.
Yeah, well, do you think that's true, or do you think it's another ploy?
He's retiring in 2 years. 2 years. And isn't it interesting that he's a book coming out? Howard is a smart guy, and he knows there aren't many people that listen to the Howard Stern Show anymore. So he's got to start trying to figure a way, how am I going to sell books when I don't have that audience that I used to have? So he's great at using the media to get a message across. So he knows it's going to be picked up by all the media outlets that he's retiring. That gets his book premiere to get out to the public for people that probably haven't listened to the show in 10, 15 years. I mean, seriously, people don't listen to the Howard Stern Show like they did. Not even, I would say he's lost 60% of his audience, at least.
No, I heard from Tim Sabian that he went from 16 million to under 800,000.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Well, Tim knows the numbers. Tim knows the numbers.
There's a reason Sirius XM bought Pandora. They're trying to pave their post-Howard future.
Yeah.
It's not going to, people aren't going to pay that kind of money just to listen to old shows.
Yeah. No, I agree. And Chauncey, do me a favor, this is the only time you're ever going to hear me say this. Raise your hat so we can see your fucking face. I mean, you look like you're fucking covering your eyes, and your eyes are closed every time you talk. What the fuck are you on mescaline?
Yeah, but last week.
What's going on? Since as I'm getting older, I'm turning Japanese, and I don't know what's going on, but my eyes are getting squintier and more elongated as I age.
Do you know what turning Japanese
I don't know
means?
what it is.
Do you know what turning Japanese means?
What?
It means jerking off, you idiot.
Yeah, it's a Nerf herder song.
Turning Japanese. No, it's not a Nerf herder.
No, it's
the Vapors.
Thank you. Why am I? Who's
what?
The Nerf herders have like one big hit.
Yeah, it's not that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for producing and having him raise his hat, because last week we thought he was going to rob us.
Well, I am the producer now. You're the.
I know.
You're the host.
I know. You're the flowy. But okay, so look. So obviously Howard's trying to hype the book, and then he's got the stupid secret. And then I keep reading on the message boards and stuff that maybe, and I was telling John this, he sings that Baby Shark song now, Chauncey. So is he granddad? Is that his reveal?
I don't. If that's the reveal, that's pretty lame. I mean, does anyone care if he's a granddad?
No, not really.
The only reveal that Howard could say that makes any kind of exciting news is that he's gay or that he's bald. Those are the only two.
Well, the bald one, I don't know if you saw the picture I posted today, Royce. The Howard Stern book cover of him bald, like Howard Stern bald again or whatever. And you know what? He doesn't look bad bald.
There's a and I thought that.
No, he should go for it. Yeah, you should go for it.
But that's under the pretense that Photoshop bald head is as smooth as his skull. Because I thought about that when I saw that. I was like, he wouldn't be a bad looking dude. But then that he's got to have like an egg head up top. That thing's all malformed. So it's not going to look.
He's probably got a couple of loose hairs that grow wild. A couple of those freckles that are more liver spots than freckles. That look. But even I was laughing today because I was reading the article that he's retiring, and they had a copy of the cover of the book that's coming out, and I even thought of that. And what's it called? Comes Again.
Yeah.
Is that the name of it?
Yeah, Howard Stern Comes Again, and
that sounds like such a 1980 cliche.
Yeah.
Comes Again. Shocking. Wait? Let me get that double play on words. That's shocking, Howard. Comes Again. It just seems like it.
I'm sure Derek Jones, that fucking hack, wrote that.
Well, yeah, right. And he can thank you for the opportunity. Yeah. But Chauncey, wasn't that an old Jackie album?
I think you have Jackie on and ask him. I think it might be.
I'm pretty sure Jackie had an album called Comes Again.
I'm sure Jackie probably did. Jackie put out a 2000 album. Every variants of words and phrases that have ever been used in the dictionary.
Yeah, he's probably got them all.
Hot dogs and donuts.
Can I say something about Jackie?
You can say as much as you want about Jackie.
I haven't spoken to Jackie in maybe 15 years.
Aren't you lucky?
How did you pull that off?
He moved to Ireland. Oh, shit.
The funniest Jackie story is when he would call me at Stepping Out and say, Chauncey, hey, I need to be on the cover of the magazine. What are you doing in July? You got to come to the party. We're having a big party. And every year I fall for it. I'd put him on the cover, and he never once sent me an invite.
Wow.
Not once.
That's awesome. I mean, typical. Every
year.
Typical Jackie. Typical Jackie.
I'm sorry, I'm writing that down. So Chauncey.
Yeah.
John got blocked on Twitter, we think, today from the Stern Show, just about the same time that you were texting me that list of blocked celebrities. We have to get into that.
Oh, I don't know this. This is awesome. Who tell us the list, Royce?
Well, Chauncey, you seem to have a whole list of names. You can kick it off.
Well, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No. I'm listening.
So John, you probably know some of this over the years. When Howard wrote his book Private Parts, he came to me and said, Chauncey, I need help with the book. Can you give me all the quotes of celebrities you've interviewed that had something bad to say about me over the years? And if you look at Private Parts, in every couple of pages, there's a box of celebrities saying something negative about Howard. Those all came from me and Stepping Out.
Wow.
That's why Howard thanks me in the book. And over those years, I think it was Dice Clay was the big one. Dice Clay said to me that Howard was off his game during one of his shows. And if you remember, Dice got banned for 10 years for saying that. 10 years.
Yeah, I remember that.
Wow.
Remember that?
Yep.
The other one was Dee Snider. Dee Snider still can't be mentioned on the Howard Stern show because I interviewed Dee and he told me that Howard that he was pissed off. He didn't get invited to Howard's wedding, and in fact, Dee was the first celebrity to come out with the term Hollywood Howie because Howard at that point had forgotten all his old B celeb pals and had gone over to the A Train, and so Dee trashed Howard, and Howard never forgave him, and to this day won't talk about him on the air.
Wow.
Yeah, another one was Roseanne. Now, John, you were at the show then. Do you remember when I interviewed Roseanne and Tom Arnold, and they said they wouldn't let anybody from their show do the Howard Stern show? And if you did the Howard Stern show, you were kicked off the Roseanne show, and that was when Roseanne was the #1 show on TV.
Wow.
Do you remember?
So Sandra Bernhardt was banned from doing the Howard Stern show. Sally Kirkland couldn't do the Howard Stern show. And these were marching orders from Roseanne.
But wait a second.
Tom Arnold.
But wait a second. Who is blocked on Twitter now? What celebrities?
No. He's saying blocked from the show.
Oh, yeah. Well, Gilbert is. Gilbert.
But wait, real quick, because Sandra Bernhard, you're saying, was blocked back then, because then forever she was on the show.
Yeah.
After that.
Remember she played a supporting role on Roseanne, and while she was on Roseanne, if she went on, and she was always doing Stern in those days, so she wanted to go on Stern because she was a regular guest. Well, Roseanne told Sandra Bernhardt, if you go on the show, on the Stern show, you're kicked off my show. And that all came from the interview I did in Stepping Out and started the Roseanne and Stern feud.
She was the one that that was on the Stern show saying that when she was banging Jay Leno, he would handcuff her and that Jay had a big cock. That was from Sandra Bernhardt.
I sense another podcast. And to that end, by the way.
Although Sandra Bernhardt turned me down.
That's what I was going to say. So a couple weeks ago, I saw that Sandra Bernhard was on somebody's radio show or podcast saying that she can't get on the Stern show anymore. And Baba Booey tells her, well, we're only doing a couple shows a week and we just have too much to promote. So people were like, oh my God, I can't believe that. So it's like, I'll reach out to Sandra Bernhard's rep and get her on your podcast, John. And they gave us the same excuse. She's got too much going on for the next few months.
I know.
She's too busy.
People are afraid. It's funny. As little audience as Howard as he has right now, people are still afraid of him. The media still doesn't want to get on Howard's bad side.
I know.
Celebrities don't want to get on Howard's bad side because it's just not worth it. It's not worth it.
No, I know. Because even when we had John Fugelsang on, and I don't remember, I was just telling him an old story, something in my book that was bad about Howard, and John was like, I don't want to talk bad about Howard. A lot of people are really afraid of Howard. I'm not saying John was afraid. Maybe he just respected Howard too much. But a lot of celebrities are still afraid of him. It's
terrified.
But oddly enough, to me, there's nothing to be afraid of. Like, I was afraid of him, when I was on the show, and obviously I was afraid of him after. But now,
right. When you have something when he can hurt you, but he can't hurt you anymore.
No, now,
The greatest empowering moment is when Howard can't hurt you anymore.
Exactly.
When you get to that point in your life where there's nothing he can do, that's when you become the biggest weapon against him, and he freaks out because he knows there's nothing he can do to you to hurt you.
And don't you think that that's where he's at now? I mean, look, he might not be aware, Chauncey, of you guys talking last week, but he's got to know about John and Billy and Jackie sitting around that table by now. So
he knows everything. He knows about last week. He knows about everything.
But do you think? But do you think it eats him alive? Do you think he's capable of shrugging it off?
No, it eats him alive. I guarantee you, it eats him alive. John, what do you think? I think it eats him alive. You know him better than me. I think that Marcy Yoko Turco has got into his head so much so that she said, don't be distracted by anything anybody's saying bad about you and focus on the positive. I'd bet this pen on that. No, in other words, I don't
know if that validates your argument.
No, it doesn't. But I would bet Chauncey's hat on it that no, he doesn't want to know. I think the only thing he probably says to Baba Flowhigh, because I'm sure Gary has one or two of the writers go through all my book and skim through it and just say, is there anything that is libelous or slanderous or anything I can sue him for? That's the only thing I think Howard would care about if there was money to be made. But I don't think Howard would ever at this point in his life give a shit what anybody's saying.
See, I have a different feeling towards it. I think that Howard would never say he cares, and that Marcy tells him, don't address it. Don't even go on the air and say anything about it. But when Howard's taking a shit, I think it bothers him. I think when he's alone with his own thoughts and he's off the air, all these little things bother him a great deal.
But then let me ask you, Chauncey, and then why Howard must have known that his treatment of Scott the engineer would go public. So if he had to have known that, but yet he didn't care. And now he's been painted in such a horrible light for the way he treated Scott. So if he really cared, then why would he treat the guy so poorly, is my question.
Oh, because he doesn't care. He doesn't care about Scott. He cares about when people trash him. I'm sure what people said about Howard because what he did to Scott bothers Howard. But Howard's not going to address that. He's not going to ever say anything about it.
But I'm saying, wait, Chauncey, and I'm not trying to argue with you, but you said in the beginning Howard's a very smart guy. So my point is, if he's a very smart guy, then he must have known by his treatment of Scott that would get out. So why not thwart that from getting all the hate and just give Scott a few grand to help his wife?
Because he's still an asshole. Because he's an asshole. I mean, he can't. He's an asshole. He can't help it. He's gonna do that to Scott because of the person that he is. But I guarantee you, it bothers him that people trashed him for doing that to Scott. But I don't think he regrets doing that to Scott, or even thought about not doing that to Scott, because Howard is in his own world, his own universe. So I know it sounds like an oxymoron, but he doesn't want you or me saying anything bad about him in any form, whether it's this podcast or whether it's on a talk show. He doesn't want that. He hates Trump. It. But he doesn't give a shit of what we're saying, just that we're saying. Yeah, but if that makes sense. He has no guilt about his actions, but he doesn't want people saying shit about him.
Yeah, but you talk about the Scott thing, and sure, so the Scott thing's out of the bag, and if playing that out, if Howard's thinking about the Scott thing, the ramifications are still only within his bubble. Nobody gives a shit about that outside of Howard's universe, and his universe is only 800,000 now, possibly smaller, and he can control that with fake phone calls and by just running the show the way he wants.
Yeah.
No one's gonna be able to call him out on the air over that. No one. That will never happen. In 1992, it might have, not now. So it doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. But Howard knows that we're saying this shit about him. And I imagine if Howard was here in the room right now addressing this, what he would say. What would Howard say if, John, you could say to his face, Howard, what you did is fucked up to Scott. You're a fucking asshole. And you could look at Howard's face and point right in his big nose and say it. What would he say? How could he defend himself?
Well, that's what we're going to do when we start doing the red carpets, because he's going to probably come to L.A. to promote his book, Royce, which is why we need investors.
That would be amazing.
Because I am going to ask him that. I'm going to go right up to the Pelican.
That's awesome.
And I'm just going to say, Howard, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I think we should get you to a Hamptons cat adoption red carpet.
Yeah, I don't care.
Even if you had people to hold signs up behind Howard, Scott Salem, or fuck you. What'd you do to Scott? Anything. Signs.
Oh, dude.
Every time he does an interview or promotion, people in the audience scream out Scott.
Yeah,
just drive him crazy with Scott calls.
Robin Salem, or just a sign saying Howard helped kill Scott Salem's wife.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
I don't fucking care, man.
I didn't say don't do it.
Hey, listen
I just
to this.
said it was horrible.
Hey, Chauncey, what are the odds? I'm sorry, but I have to ask you, because how I look at it, right? And that's just me.
Yeah.
Howard has, 100 employees or 50 employees. What are the odds that Howard gives them all a golden parachute? Do you think?
Nothing. They didn't get.
Unless it's literally a
goal. that they're not getting shit. Maybe Gary and Fred and Robin. That's it.
I think they might get a golden tin of popcorn, John. I think that's really what you're looking at.
Yeah, they're gonna get a tin of popcorn. That's about it.
Yeah.
Guarantee it.
I know. Well, I mean, I think by now Gary has enough money. Gary, Fred, and Robin do. They don't have to worry. But how about
They don't need it anyway.
But how about the Sals and the Richards and the Memmets or whoever?
Oh, they'll all be on TV Remix.
And they probably will be.
They will be. Mark my word. I know that.
You think Shuley has a golden parachute?
No.
Those guys are going to be unemployed.
Well, okay, so that's actually where I wanted to go next with this. So what does a post Howard Stern channel look like? He made the comment today, Robin and Fred, you can do the show without me. We know that's not going to happen. Are some of those guys, is their perceived golden parachute going to be running the channels? Is he going to go do that Netflix interview show? Well, I think he's done with radio. I don't think he goes away. I think his ego's too big.
Look, I will say this, and I know that I'll get a lot of shit for it, but this is the God's honest truth, and maybe it'll get in the paperback because I asked my editor to put it in the book and it was too late. But one of the stories that I forgot to put in, Chaunce, and this is the best, is Don Buchwald was at a meeting, like a roundtable meeting with a bunch of his execs and network executives to get Robin her own show. And Don said to Robin, and Robin told him this straight from Robin's mouth, and my memory is very vivid because it's about me. Robin said to, Don Buchwald said to Robin, all right, without Howard, who in the world would you want to host a show with? Who would you want to be your co-host? And she said, Stuttering John. And Don Buchwald's jaw dropped. He was like, what? Really? And she goes, yeah, we have the best conversations together. We we work off each other. So that must have put a fucking knife in Don Buchwald's stupid fucking back. But I swear to God, Chauncey, that's what Robin said. And Robin told me, I said, Robin, but what did they all say? She said Don was not very happy.
Yeah. Well, of course I believe it. But this is the problem with those guys in that show after Howard. The show has already jumped the shark. At 800,000 listeners, and that's with Howard. Take him out of the equation, and that 800,000 becomes 5,000. There's no value. There's no market. And it's no knock on Richard or Sal or Shuley or any of those guys. But honestly, nobody gives a fuck, and nobody's going to care, and there's going to be no value to them not being a part of it. There's no value to them now, even on the Stern Show. Does anybody care? Does anyone care? Nobody.
Well,
at best, Howard is interesting. If you get a big A-list star to do an interview, he's a good interviewer. That gives it some traction. But what else is there at this point? Who cares what Sal does or what Shuley does or Richard does? Nobody.
I think what you just said right there, his interview is everything. He leaves the radio show behind. He goes and does exactly what Letterman did on Netflix, which is why I believe he did that show. And those guys fall by the wayside. Who's going to pick those guys up? There's nothing for those guys. They're going to do Ronnie's Block Party.
Ask Doug Goodstein who's going to pick them up. Ask Ganji that question and see what they say.
Which is sinful.
Howard doesn't give a crap, and no one's going to give a crap. You're unemployed.
It's so weird, though, because, when you look at, like, Saturday Night Live, they have always embraced their past. They always bring on, old players to
Adam
host.
Sandler just hosted, didn't he?
Which he had never done before.
Yeah.
Or I think he's going to.
Yeah.
But they embrace their past to a certain extent. And to me,
that's an ensemble cast. Howard is a one-man show,
but
with
truly,
a bunch of puppets, around him.
But truly, it was an ensemble cast. I mean, at the height of its show, when you had Jackie and Billy and John and Fred was doing his thing, and Robin was on top of her game. Howard was the one you were listening to the least.
That imploded. And John, you can tell me if I'm right or not. It was becoming an ensemble cast. Stuttering John became a household name and a brand. Jackie was a brand. Everyone associated within that small, tight circle became cultural icons. And as soon as it reached a point, it began to crumble. Howard was not going to let it happen. They were never going to pay John the money that John earned because it was not an ensemble cast. Jackie wasn't going to get what he thought he deserved. All the pieces of the puzzle began to disintegrate. And then you got the Arties came in and Get John's Job and all the people sitting in Jackie's seat. And so it all ended. Anyone who was a threat to Howard or could compete to Howard fell apart. Even Artie. Artie was beloved by fans. Howard, the best thing ever happened to Howard was Artie becoming a heroin addict and falling apart.
It kept the show going.
I would really enjoy the fact that Artie was so beloved.
Well, I will tell you, I think if you really had to say the last straw, the last piece that was that brought the Howard Stern down was Artie's demise. Because after Artie left, there was nothing anymore. I mean, you could say there are people who say Sal and Richard are so good. Not me. To me, when I listened to Sal and Richard, it was all them trying so hard to get Howard's love. It was love me, daddy. Look, we'll grab each other's cocks. It was so contrived. Nothing was organic. When I was there and Jackie was there and Artie was there, it was all organic. A lot of it, well, I don't want to, blow my own horn, but a lot of it was because I would come in there and tell Howard what's going on behind the scenes with everybody. So I'm just saying.
It's now like Jason's job, Like,
yeah, but Jason is not as well. He's not as smart, and B, he's not as funny as.
But
me.
you also have too many people in the mix now. That's the other half of it. Like it was a tight knit crew from a listener's perspective. So when you would come in and rag, you know what I mean? Like when you would come in and rag on them, like that was like the height of the show. And now when they do it, it just feels like they're trying to capture that thing again.
And John's right. John's right about what he just said. In those days, it was organic. Now you can almost hear the fear in their voices when they even attempt to go down that road. And I think part of it too was the show became very real when Artie tried to kill himself. And I think people sat back to see what Howard would do. And I think Howard's reaction to it turned a lot of people off. I think for the first time, people really got to see the real Howard. And I think that it was at a bad time when Howard just went to Sirius. And people said, you know what? Howard's kind of a dick and a douchebag. I'm not paying to listen to him. It changed the dynamic, the chemistry, and the way people perceived Howard Stern.
Yeah, and Royce, I don't know if you saw this, but I know this is your show here, but I'm just giving you a. Did you see the last piece of video of Artie as a garbage man?
Yeah.
Did you see it, Chauncey?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
That's fucking sad.
I saw it because Jackie tweeted it out.
Jackie did?
His sweatpants are pretty nice looking. Are those prison issue or?
I don't know, but
the sweatpants are pretty.
He looked good. I can't knock him for it. I mean, he's working.
I didn't really see his
court ordered, but he's working.
I didn't see his nose, but the best thing that I got was a text from Mike Boschetti, and he just said, "Look at this fat fuck now," because Mike harbors so much hate for Artie because Artie used to beat up Mike saying, "I made $150,000 this weekend doing stand-up. How much did you make, Mike? $150?" Like. Artie would rub it into Mike's face, and Mike is the sweetest guy in the world.
Yeah, which says a lot if he's PO'd.
Yeah, and Boschetti sent it to me with just saying, "Look at this fat fuck. He's a garbage man now." And you know what? I have to say, I'm in support of Mike Boschetti because, Artie has treated so many people, including myself, so badly that it's about time that he gets his comeuppance. I'm sorry. I know he's a heroin addict. I know he's got a lot of fans, and I'll always love the guy. But the guy has been an asshole to so many fucking people, and it's about time that a guy that mean, just like Howard, Artie got his comeuppance. The only way, because I used to ask my ex-wife, and this is all Stern Show. I'm not trying to host Royce, but
I didn't say a word. I'm listening.
All right, but my ex-wife,
the whole idea is to make it interesting. So
but my wife used to say, the universe takes care of everything. When the Kardashians stole her idea for the reality show, I said, "Why don't you sue?" "No, the universe will take care of it." And I said, "But Howard's such an asshole. When is he going to go poor? When's the universe going to take care of that?" She goes, and she was very profound. She said, "John, you don't know how unhappy he is. He is probably one of the most unhappy people in the world. Money, I know this sounds crazy, but money can't buy happiness."
Nope.
And it's just like Jay Leno, because Jay would say to me, I hate people who say that money can't buy happiness. Because look, have you ever seen a happy poor person? But I will say, Jay once, when we were driving home from a jaywalk, Jay was like, "Can't we just fucking end this shit? Can't I die already?" And Jay's a millionaire too. So But Jay is a great guy.
He's also a workaholic.
Yeah, but I'm just saying Howard probably is really unhappy.
Someone, I hate to keep harping back on Scott Salem, but if you have a decent heart, if you're a good or in a happy place inside or have any kind of spiritual balance inside of you, you would never do what Stern did to Scott. You have to have so much hate for yourself, inside yourself, to do what he did to Scott and his wife, that's your answer to Stern, whether or not Stern's a happy guy or not. You can't do that to somebody and have any kind of joy in you whatsoever. That's turning Howard inside out and seeing what he is. It's ugly. It's disgusting. It's pathetic. That's all of Howard turned inside out. What happened to Scott Salem?
But I also think that's kind of how Artie plays into it, because without Artie, where would that show have gone? And Artie to me was almost like a projection of Howard's own self-loathing, because he let himself take it out on Artie. They're both really mean-spirited guys.
Yeah.
And I do remember listening once, and there was some rating that came out in a magazine where Artie was more popular than Howard was on his own show.
Yeah.
But those guys are very, very similar.
And guess what? You must have known Chaunce. I'm sure you how much Howard fucking hated to hear that Artie was more popular than him on his own show.
That's what I was just saying a moment ago. That drove Howard crazy.
Yeah. But that also allows him to feed into his demise.
Decline, that's why Howard turned the screws tighter.
Yeah.
Howard enjoyed watching Artie fall to pieces right up to the bitter end, and probably helped drive Artie to suicide. And don't tell me that Howard didn't know what was going on. Howard plays that card. I had no idea. I mean, I thought Artie was just having fun at night. I didn't know he was on Howard. Howard knew exactly what was going on. Just like with Hank the Angry Dwarf and all the other misfits that ended up dead, or God, whatever happened to half the whack packers on that show. Howard squeezed them like sponges until there's nothing left. They die. Then Howard has a tribute show, says he never knew, didn't have any idea it was that bad, and goes on with his life. There's so much ugliness in the wake of that show. It's going to come back. It's going to come back. And I can't wait for this book to come out and be a total flop for Howard. Not that you can hurt his pocket at this point, but you can hurt him in other ways. And
his ego.
Not finding that book is a way to hurt that guy.
Well, listen, I have to tell you the Artie stuff, though. Like when Artie was at the end and he was sleeping and they would set up the couch for him in the middle of the studio and they would just watch him sleep. It was sad. It wasn't funny anymore. And to say that you didn't know at that point, you knew enough to know there was something wrong.
Yeah. No, I think Chauncey's right. I think they knew. And I told Robin fucking before I left that Artie was a nasty, mean, bad drunk. And I warned her. I said, you watch. He'll turn. He'll turn on you.
The show when Artie went after his assistant.
Oh, yeah. Teddy.
I saw that.
I still get fucking chills when I watch that.
I know, because Artie is just as mean and angry and loathes himself as Howard.
By the way, the best thing to watch in that is Benji in the background, because always Benji getting in the way, doing nothing in the background as Artie's attacking Teddy. It's great.
Well, Benji, look, I love Benji, and by the way, I want to say two things. First of all, Jay could have been kidding when he said just ended already.
Well, of course he was kidding.
Well, I don't know, but
you know.
But the other thing I'll say is Jason. When I say I'm smarter than Jason, Jason's a smart guy. I'm just saying when it comes to knowing how to fuck with people on the show, Jason's not as smart as me in that. In other words, Jason's a good guy, but he doesn't have the sense of humor that I have it, and that I was able to do it in a way that Howard really enjoyed it.
John, you became an iconic character. Jason, a lot of people could be Jason. Let's be honest.
Yeah. He's trying to run your playbook.
America can actually be Jason. There aren't many people, and I'm not kissing your ass, but Stuttering John is a household name to this day. It just is. And I told AJ Benzer this too. When Seth MacFarlane put AJ Benzer on Family Guy, you are now you're an icon of sorts. You are. Anyone can't just be AJ Benzer. You can't just be Stuttering John.
Hey,
Anyone
fucking
can beat JC.
Seth MacFarlane, you fucking Peter Brady looking motherfucker. You put AJ Benzer on Family Guy and not me? That shit. He's going into the hate list.
He's a douchebag anyway. He's on the top of the hate list. Have you met the
You
man?
didn't know that? You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, AJ Benzer is on Family Guy.
There you
By
go.
the way, we are going to make this hate list, but he absolutely has a home on it.
All right, well, but that's on the Stuttering John podcast.
But hey, it's all one universe.
Yes.
So, all right, what do you guys know about?
In fact, you can have it for your show here, like the hate list.
we just put it on the monitor.
Yeah.
It might actually be a real-time list people could add and drop very quickly.
Well,
But what's up with the whole rumbling about the Stern Show intern sexual harassment scandal?
I didn't hear about this. Is this current?
I'm just reading rumblings on Twitter that there was some issue with sexual harassment with the interns.
I've heard about it too.
You have?
Yes.
You have anything you want to add to that?
But isn't that going all the way back to?
The intern beauty pageant.
Yeah, I mean we can go way back with that, and I don't want to bring anyone's name up. But John, isn't this something was ongoing with the show? With former staff members of the show.
Well, KC was banging an intern. KC was banging Anne Marie, who was married at the time. I was with an intern that I would fly around to my gigs. But then again, those days
It was a little different.
Yeah, and plus, it's not like I said, "Hey, I'm gonna help you get higher up," because I was I was still an intern myself. I think.
Right, but not offering something's not the point. It's the power dynamic.
Yeah, no, but that again, just like Joe Biden says, I mean that was a different time. Like I don't see how you can get Howard in trouble for the intern beauty pageant because that was a different time.
I don't even know if that's what these people are referring to. But
I don't think it is.
Do you guys know anything about? I've also heard rumblings going back as far as the Channel 9 days that Howard would bang the interns.
No.
That's not true?
I've never heard that.
All right.
I did hear that he banged Miss Howard Stern after he got divorced.
Andrea?
The brunette one. I don't know. Wasn't there a brunette
Well, there were
one?
the Howard TV girls, but Andrea was Miss Howard Stern.
But she's blonde.
Yes.
No, the brunette one.
I don't know.
Yeah. You remember her, Chauncey? The brunette Miss Howard Stern?
Is that the one with the sexy voice?
Yes.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I think he banged
that was
her.
name.
Someone said that he banged Layla Ali or something.
Layla, Muhammad Ali's daughter?
I'm the one that broke that story. I'm the one that broke that. She told me she banged Howard.
Who?
The one from Son of a Beach.
Yeah, the one from
She
Layla
told
Arceri.
me she fucked Howard.
Yeah.
Who is this, Chauncey?
Remember the show Son of a Beach?
Right, of course. Tim
Google
Stack.
Remember
Google it,
There
Layla.
was a black girl on it. Hot as hell.
Yeah.
Smoking hot.
We'll throw a picture up in post.
Yeah, Layla something. Somebody.
First you said Layla Ali, and I was like, wait a second.
That's
it's an
last
A.
name, but
Yeah.
you know what I'm
It's
talking about.
Arceri, maybe.
I'll look it.
Yeah, look it up. So she told me on the record that how he snuck her up to his penthouse apartment at Columbus Circle, how the procedure of how to get up to the apartment, the various gates you had to get past, like Get Smart. It was like a Get Smart opening. You had to go through all these various gates that open and close to get into Howard's love nest. And then she explained the whole deal, how Howard takes you on the tour, how it ends in the bedroom. It was like, it was so cheesy. You wanted to douse yourself in bleach by the time she was done telling the story.
I've been in that bedroom.
Really? I was going to say, I know the building because you said Columbus Circle. It made me think it is Columbus Circle, but I was
He
thinking.
lives above.
Did you really want to say it?
No, he lives above Regis.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say something else that starts with an R.
This on the record. This ended up, I think, in the newspapers
Well, I don't really care.
years
I can
ago.
say it, right?
And
Yeah,
Howard
it's-
had to defend it.
He lives
But
above
it
the
was
Reebok
all
gym.
true.
Right?
I think
What's that?
so.
He lives above the Reebok gym in Columbus Circle.
Yeah, he has lunch at Joseph's, the restaurant Joseph's.
Yeah, very well.
Oh my God, I got a great Howard story in Joseph's.
I actually used to work with those guys.
Oh, I got a great story. So one day I'm sitting in Joseph's because I'm doing an interview with this stunning Mexican pop star named Paulina Rubino. I don't know if you know her. You can Google her, Paulina Rubino. every single cook in every kitchen in America would die for her autograph. She's like the biggest Mexican star on the planet. At the time, Howard would go there for lunch with, who was the guy, Richie from Nobu? You know the guy I'm talking about, Sean?
Notar.
Yeah, Notar. So I'm waiting for her to come in. I'm sitting at a table, and Howard's there. And Howard goes, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm interviewing this girl named Paulina Rubino." And Richie goes, "Oh, my God, I know her. She's fucking hot." Howard sits there at the table, goes, "Can you introduce me? Introduce me. Hook me up. Hook me up." And I didn't have that kind of relationship with Howard. So she's late. Howard ended up sitting there for an hour and a half waiting for this girl to come in. And then she finally comes in, and she just walks past Howard, didn't know who he was, didn't care who he was, and just sat with me alone in the corner of the restaurant and totally ignored him. You could see the look on his face, like, "Please don't say anything about this. Please don't say anything about this." He was humiliated.
But did you
made him look like shit.
But did you introduce him?
Yeah, I did, but she didn't care.
Oh,
she didn't
that's great.
Hey, what the fuck is that sign on there? What does that say? Seed Mile Favre? What?
What's that?
Above the wooden spoons. Behind you.
Oh, that's an Irish saying. 1,000 welcomes.
Oh, look at Chauncey. He's all Irish now.
Listen, I can actually use 1,000 welcomes as a really good segue. Why were you
I live in Ireland, in Europe. I can't even believe this. I know.
Why were you constantly the guy hosting the guests for the Howard Stern show? It seems to me you were always opening up your door to some detriment to your home.
Oh, one of the two best stories are, so when I was auditioning for Get John's job, every day I'd come up with a show or produce something. So my plan was, and I didn't tell you, I don't think I told you this last week. So I came up with the Harlem Ho beauty pageant. Harlem Hoes. So I took my Pathfinder and I went into Harlem and I actually got prostitutes. Like today, they would just have girls fake out the prostitutes. I actually thought you had to get prostitutes. So I go to Harlem, I get 6 black, fat, open sores on their body, flabby-titted prostitutes with their pimp. And I know that you have to be in the studio like 5:30, 6 in the morning. I'm never going to get them to show up. They're never going to show up. So I bring them home to New Jersey, where I live. My wife was out of town for the week on business. I have them all come into my house. I lock them in the basement, and I give them a couple of bottles of wine, and I say, "I'll see you at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we're going to go do the show." And it worked. I went to bed. They were down in the basement doing whatever they were doing. And in the morning, the sprinklers are going off, the paper boy's throwing the newspaper, and I got 6 disgusting Harlem prostitutes walking out of my house with the pimp to go do the Stern show. And the show was a big success. It was a great segment. It went out.
You locked them in your basement. Who are you, fucking Ted Bundy?
Yeah, seriously.
Wait. So my wife comes home the next day. And I'm thinking I got away with this. I pulled it off. She's never listened to the Howard Stern show once in her life. She didn't even know what I did on the show or anything. So she's upstairs and she has this big walk-in closet with hundreds of pairs of shoes and jewelry and perfume. And I hear, "Chauncey." I'm like, yeah. He goes, "Who was here while I was gone?" I'm like, "Nobody. Why?" She goes, I'm wondering because 10 of my shoes are missing, and all my jewelry's gone, and so is my perfume.
I thought you locked the door in the basement.
I didn't lock them like with a key. I just closed the door. I didn't lock the
That's
door.
not locking a door.
Oh, you're an idiot, Chauncey.
So,
Chauncey!
I thought of every lie. I sat there at the bottom of the stairs thinking, there's got to be a lie to get out of this. There's got to be a lie. I had nothing. I couldn't think of first time in my life, I couldn't think of a single excuse.
Yeah, that's where
and
you
I
fall
just had to say, well, you're not going to believe this, but I had 6 prostitutes in the house, and I think they robbed us.
Really?
Yeah, that happened.
And what did she say when you said that to her?
She didn't say. She walked down the stairs with a blank check, and it had $10,000 written on it. She said, "Sign it." And she went upstairs, and then she took the check and just turned around and walked away.
And then what?
Cost me $10,000. I had to pay her $10,000.
How much did you have to pay the hookers? I was trying to do a...
500. I didn't have to pay the hookers. I paid Rambo.
So you're
the
95 in all.
pimp, $500.
Oh,
I
okay.
paid him $500.
And again, so you have the foresight to put them in the basement because you don't want them in the actual house. And then you
Right.
close the door and you don't think that. I actually thought you locked them in, which is crazy as that sounds, is not a terrible idea. And yet you left the door unlocked and went to bed. I have such anxiety from listening to
I
this.
said to them, because I had like a man cave basement with a pool table, bar, a TV. I said, just hang out here tonight. Do whatever you want. Stay down here, and I'm going to come and get you in the morning. And I figured I'd clean up the next day. But they went into my wife's closet and just took everything she had while I was asleep.
Wow.
Would you have been able to sleep comfortably?
No. No, I don't know why you just didn't get a hotel room for him.
Yeah, I don't understand either.
That would make so much more sense.
He really wanted to win your job.
And then, you know what the other great story was? And so I produced the amputee beauty pageant. So I had these girls fly in from all over the country with no limbs. And a lot of them had, again, nowhere to stay. I'm like, no problem. You can stay with me. You can stay in my house. I never told my wife. We get a knock on the door, and all these girls are standing there without arms and legs at our front door.
How they knock?
Like, we're supposed to stay here for the weekend.
With their knee.
With their knee. Wait, don't tell me.
They had no arms, no legs.
And they still
hands.
robbed you. Twice, Chauncey.
Yeah, but they didn't need any bracelets.
No.
They couldn't steal anything. They had no arms.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
You look homeless up in. That's the Jackie joke.
But, it's amazing. So you're willing to do all this stuff for the show.
Yeah. I would do anything. Yeah. And when I cried, when I interviewed Howard on my last day of Get John's job, I broke down. Howard started reading all the hate mail. People hate me, hate me, hate me. And I actually started crying. And when I say cry, I don't mean like a sniffle or your eyes get red. I cried like a 4-year-old child cries when they fall off a swing. That's how I cried, like hyperventilating crying. And I'm a grown man, a grown adult man. That's when I realized this has gone too far, and I'm totally fucked in the head. What am I doing? And
that's when you realize you're fucked in the head.
And I would have done that when I forgot to lock the door with the hookers in the basement.
And you didn't cry when you fucking lost $10,000 of jewelry.
No. I knew what's even funnier. She didn't divorce me at that point.
Yeah, that's what I thought she was going to have you sign.
Oh, you're Irish. I'm surprised you don't cry when you look down.
So, all right.
That was the other show when I broke my penis and Robin had to hold my penis in her hand. I can tell how many people can say that Robin Quivers held their dick in her hand.
Just you and Jim Florentine.
Jim Florentine. And Mr. X.
Like, between Jim Florentine, that's the only two people I know.
So there's 3 of you now.
Robin once told me that funny enough, not Jim Florentine, this was before him, the biggest cock she ever had was a white guy.
Really?
Really?
Hey, since you brought Robin back
Howard.
You mentioned her show before. Remember she was going to do a Sony talk show at one point?
Yeah.
Do you think that that's one of those deals that like ultimately like someone like a Buckwald buried and they just kind of gave her a little floater deal to appease her? Because I've seen that happen in my own experience in TV.
Could have been. It could have been.
They did test shows, but they actually did test shows with a live audience. I don't think she did very well. I don't think that the tests were very positive.
No, I don't think so either.
But that seems to me like that's all a bunch of lip service. Like, hey, would you start up the show and shut it down? Kinda.
Again, I don't think that Robin, she doesn't have it to be her own host. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna certain people have it to be a host.
Yeah.
Certain people have it to be a co-host, and there's a difference, and that's why I think when Buckwald asked her and she said me because she knew that I could play that Howard role. I could keep the narrative going as opposed to where a Robin's better at chiming in and things as such.
And in those days, Howard was so big and so famous that if you had any association to the show whatsoever, whether you were Robin or even a guy like me that was 10 steps removed from the show, you got offers and things you couldn't believe. I was on CNN, Fox News, Geraldo when he did his live gossip shows. All of that was because of Howard Stern.
It wasn't because you locked a bunch of freaking prostitutes in the basement?
Yeah, seriously.
And prostitutes.
You should have to cover the Post for that.
Anything I got was because Howard Stern would say my name.
Yeah,
And that was the goal. How do you get Howard Stern to say your name every day? It became a game, like a sick game. And if he did, everyone in the country knew your name that day.
Well, that value is gone now.
What's that?
That value is gone now.
Yeah, now.
Well,
the way I always tell people, in 1995, if the UPS driver, the mailman, or if you went to the deli, any of those people could tell you exactly what happened on the Howard Stern show that day. Today, I challenge you to find anyone in the country that can tell you what happened on the show today. You won't find anyone anywhere. Look all day.
No, it was the ultimate water cooler show.
Traffic, you won't find anyone.
I will say, though, so I last night on TV, there's a channel called Destination America. Have you ever seen this channel?
No.
And they have a fast food show hosted by Chaunce Hayden. And you're like, unreal. Like, because Howard obviously doesn't like people doing anything outside of his universe. Obviously, John had jumped the shark first. But he's got that. And then they introduce him like, hey, and I host the only radio show about fast food. He had a fast food radio show when when Howard 101 still had shows. No mention of Howard. The show, I don't know if they're still making new ones or not, but his fast food show is long gone. And I just look at it, I'm like, it's unbelievable. Like, he's only got this show because of his affiliation to the Stern Show.
And what's the show?
It's something where he just goes around to different fast food restaurants and eats fast food.
No, but Destination what?
The channel's called Destination America.
No.
But it's like he can't even... We know the only reason he's got the show is because of the Stern Show. But at the same time, he can't even mention the Stern Show. He was relegated to mentioning the fast food show.
No, of course.
So Howard's like, you can do this show, but you can't say you're part of my show.
Of course. He's a megalomaniac.
So I guess one of my last questions as we try to wrap this up for both you guys is we talked about the ban list. I'm wondering, is there a celebrity out there that Howard can't get still? Like, he's done all this work with Marcy Turk's help to be a new Howard, Hollywood Howie. But is there somebody out there that he's like dying to get, that he's burned such a bridge with, he'll never recover?
I don't think there's a publicist, and you got to realize that has something to do with so much the celebrities does the publicist. And I don't think there's a publicist in America that would say no to a Howard Stern interview.
How about
it's
Brad
too
Pitt?
Powerful of a clean interview.
How about Tom Hanks?
10 years ago, that wouldn't be the case.
How about Spielberg? I bet you Spielberg, Tom Hanks, Brad Pitt wouldn't do his show.
See, I think you might get Brad Pitt in there.
Tom Cruise would not do his show.
Tom Cruise, no, and then that goes back to the whole thing with Howard. Is like Tom Cruise isn't going to go in there unless Howard's going to be able to ask him what he wants to ask him.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to say that.
And there was a time you would have said Ellen DeGeneres, right?
Yeah, but
whoever believed that Ellen DeGeneres would do the Howard Stern show?
Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah.
Rosie O'Donnell.
Kathy Lee.
I mean, nothing would surprise me. Nothing would ever surprise me.
But I'm just wondering, like, if there's somebody, I mean, obviously he's made up with so many people. I just wonder if there's an opposite dynamic there. He's got people he's banned. He's banned Gilbert. He's banned Lisa Lampanelli. He's banned all these people that contributed to the show greatly. There's got to be one celebrity out there that just he's pissed off royally. I mean, I got to think.
I know that
Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman will never do the show.
Yeah. And that's crazy because Corey Feldman will do anybody's show.
I know. Corey Feldman told me too at the Improv that he can't stand Howard. He would never do Howard again.
Well, Ed Asner told us how much he hated Howard.
Oh yeah, Ed Asner. There you go.
So
there are plenty of people out there.
But it's interesting to me that there's that illusion of fear
Mary Tyler
still.
Moore won't do it, but that's because she's dead.
Well, but there's still that illusion of fear, like you were saying earlier. Though there are people that, like, even when we were doing the reunion thing, there's still that thing where, like, we're afraid of Howard, and it's like he doesn't have the power anymore.
No,
he doesn't have an audience at his fingertips. And even
if, and like I say, no one really knows Howard under the age of 25. So even if Howard asked you a tough question, you could do anything on that show. You could say anything. It doesn't have the juice it used to have. Most people won't care. They just won't. There's too many media platforms to get word out and to shape your own image. Where back in those days, in the 90s and early 2000s, there were almost so many shows you could do to get information out. There weren't a billion podcasts. There weren't a billion, Instagram.
No, it's
followers.
all oversaturated.
It's saturated. I used to be able to get, stepping out, I used to be able to get free vacations anywhere in the world. I would just send a fax to a publicist and say, I want to go to Jamaica for the week and I'll do a story on it. In 2 seconds, I get the trip approved. You can now. Everyone is a journalist. Everyone's a photographer. Everyone is famous. Howard is one of a billion people in the universe now, where he used to be the main guy in the universe. And that, I don't think Howard can handle that himself.
Yeah.
People don't give a shit.
Last thing, and thank you for doing this second part, Chauncey. And John, you should answer this too. But if you cross paths with him, let's say you're in New York or whatever, he's where you are, and you're walking down the street, what do you think he would say to you? Like, what do you think his first thing he would say to you would be, aside from walking away?
He would do what Fred Norris did to me right when Howard said I was banned from the show. I saw Fred Norris in front of a parking garage in Times Square, and he looked at me, put his head down, and just kept walking. Howard would walk by me as if I was invisible if he saw me on the street. He wouldn't acknowledge me in any way.
He wouldn't even try calling you out for something. He would just...
Nah, he's too big of a pussy up there. He wouldn't.
He knows I would love that. He knows that if he gave any expression or any reaction to me whatsoever, that I would either write about it or it'd be in the papers, or he'd be terrified. Howard, in a weird way, I think is afraid of me. He thinks that if he does anything, that it's going to be in the papers, and he can't stop me from doing that. And that's always been a fear of Howard, that I'm going to do anything I can to put my name next to his just for my own benefit. So, I rode that wave, and I would still ride it today if I could.
I feel like you probably have more or less the same answer there.
No, I think I would say, hey, and he would say, hey, and probably chat for like a couple minutes, and then
you don't think he'd be PO'd enough to ignore you after all the shit? And you really, because like what Chauncey said, you don't think that he would think that anything he said to you, you would immediately tweet?
It's a good question. I just think that 15. I don't know. I think he, as much as he hates me now, probably because of the book, I think there is still a side of him that, knows I was in his inner circle, and he'd probably say, hey, how's it going?
You might get a phony hi. You might get a phony quick hello and goodbye.
Yeah.
So I'll rephrase
you might get that, but it'll be very, very phony, I would think.
I'll rephrase the question, and then we'll get out of here. Howard's locked in a room. There's two doors out. One door's got John behind it, and one door's got Chauncey behind it. Which door is Howard leaving through?
John.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with John.
Okay. I just figured he might just decide to just rot away in that room.
No. I'm like
who's going to feed the kittens?
Beth.
You know what a lot of people are asking now on the internet? Do you think Beth ever eats at McDonald's? I don't know why.
I don't understand that.
Well, I think because I'll just say this: Beth had a very sweet tooth. She always ate candy. She claimed it was a way to lose weight, because then she wouldn't eat meals, and the candy didn't have that many calories.
Right.
So, but I don't know about McDonald's. I don't think Beth would eat McDonald's.
By the way, I don't like people knocking on her. I think she's a decent looking girl. I mean, I think she's actually very attractive.
She's an attractive girl.
It's amazing that people shit on her just because of him.
And she's sweet.
I put a phobia. I put a thought into Beth's head once, and I regret it because I actually like Beth. But I interviewed her once, and I'm sitting across from her, and she has very fair skin. She's very pale.
Yeah.
And she had this blue throbbing vein in the side of her head that, I mean, it was so blue and throbbing that you couldn't not look at it and start to fixate on it. And I said it once on the Stern show. I said, Howard, when you're having sex with Beth, do you notice that throbbing blue vein on the side of her head? And from this day on, I think in her mind, she looks at that vein every single day. I actually feel bad about it.
Wow, and
once that she puts makeup on it now to try to hide it.
I'm crazy like that. I never noticed it.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
And shit like that would freak me out, but it didn't. I never noticed that.
I would have, if somebody told me that though, I'd obsess over that. I'd stare at that all day long. Anyway, listen.
It might have been that day. Maybe I just brought out. I made her blood pulsate when I was talking to her.
Maybe Howard's never had sex with her, so he's never seen the vein.
Well, you do that to a lot of people, Chauncey.
And you don't think he's gay, right, Chauncey? I know we talked about that at the time. You don't think he's gay, right?
Who, Howard?
Yeah.
No.
The internet
I don't think
loves
he's
that
ever had a gay experience in his life.
Who?
Oh, it's just the internet loves to accuse him of being
No,
gay. When is he going to come out? It's like, he's not
Howard?
going to come out. Howard was all the penis stuff Howard is doing today. If you watch the old 94 tapes on Letterman, he goes on there and he's like trying to kiss Letterman and hold his hand. Howard's always been doing that shit.
He's not gay.
I don't think he is. I
I
just
would
think
say
it's
Ralph is gay. Is Ralph gay?
I would
Gay, John, do you know?
I would say Ralph would have he has a tendency to be gay.
he kind of almost came out recently on the show.
Or would you say he's had gay experiences?
I would
Do you
say
think-
so. I would definitely say so. Yes. That's
I
my
would
opinion.
say so too. I would vote yes on
I mean,
that.
even when Ed Torian asked him, like, has he ever fantasized about being with a guy, he said yes, Brad Pitt. So,
Yeah, he's.
I mean, and if you, and so then,
You know.
All right.
Well, whatever. All right, so we put it all to rest. Thank you very much, guys, and we'll do this again soon.
All right. I'll see
Okay,
you,
guys.
Chauncey.
So it's good hearing your voice, John. If you ever come to Ireland, I'll buy you a pint.
All right. Thanks, Pot. Thanks,
You
buddy.
got it.
And I'll lock you in the basement.
Yeah, and I'll lock you in the basement.
Thank you, Chauncey.
All right, guys. Take care.
All right. Now,
Bye-bye.
okay, now, Royce, now you got to do your wrap up on the thing. See, now you got to do your, this is your show now. So now you say what, okay, thanks for,
Well, no, I want to thank everyone for listening. I want to thank Chauncey for calling in. I've hosted a show before.
Okay.
And I want to thank you because, look, again, this is interesting to me. There's a lot of things that I never get to really think about. And like 10, 20 years ago, I would have 100 questions. And Chauncey's touching on stuff. You can go down a rabbit hole online. People think Howard Stern's gay. They think he wears a wig. So it's kind of nice to get it from a guy, to get it from a source like Chauncey, get this kind of insight. Yeah. And I like that he's candid enough to say that, hey, I will ride Howard's coattails all day long.
Yeah. Well, again, yeah. I don't see. That's the thing, and I get that, like people saying that about me, but I'm not riding his coattails. I am just telling a story about my life, and fortunately or unfortunately, 15 years of that life, pretty much a third of my life was with Howard Stern.
It would be really disingenuous to not.
And then 10 years of that was with, or 11 was with Jay Leno. So that's essentially half of my life has been working for two of those icons. So how do you not bring them up?
But nobody tells you not to talk about Jay. It's selective. It's only Howard.
Yeah, yeah.
But everyone also, like, even with the reunion, everyone's like, "Oh, you guys are bitter." And it's like, you didn't watch it. There might be bitterness in it, but whatever. Anyway, look, thank you. I got to get out of here.
Yep.
And then I'll see you tomorrow for your thing.
For the Stuttering John podcast with the guest that I very funny, and my co-star in Dude, Where's My Car, Hal Sparks.
So tomorrow.
All right.
All right.